Learning English through stories. Impatient king, wise old woman. Listen and practice. One day there was a great king, walking alone in the woods, but he lost his way and began to look for someone to help him. Then darkness fell, and after a long time, he saw a light emanating from a distant house, so he walked towards it until he reached a small hut. And then he found an old woman cleaning the place, and when she saw him, she did not know that he was the king, but she thought that he was one of the soldiers from the king's army. And she welcomed him very much. Then she gave him some water so that he could clean himself and drink from it. And then she spread a mat for him so that he could rest on it. After a while, she prepared for him a plate of hot rice and put it in front of him to eat. The king was very hungry, so he quickly put his fingers in the middle of the hot food. His fingers were burnt, and he poured some rice on the ground. And when the old woman saw this, she said to him, "You are obviously not impatient and hasty, just like a king. You ate in a hurry." The king was very surprised by the old woman's words and asked her, "Why do you think our king is not impatient and hasty?" The old woman laughed and said to him, "My dear, our king has a great dream and desires to seize all the fortresses of our enemies. And while thinking this, he ignores the small fortresses of the enemies and tries to acquire only the great ones." So the king asked her and said, "Well, this is the right thing, so what is the problem with that?" The old woman laughed again and said, "This is like your impatience when eating, and so you burned your fingers and dropped some rice. And in the same way, the king's impatience and his desire to defeat the enemies quickly causes him to lose the soldiers in his army as well. But if you have eaten the food from the edge of the plate, which was less hot, and then the one in the middle, your fingers weren't burnt and you didn't waste your food. Then she continued, Similarly, the king was to seize the small fortresses, which would strengthen his position. And this would help him in capturing the larger fortresses without losing the soldiers of his army. And when the king heard this, he understood his mistake and realized that one should be patient and not rush into any situation. Therefore, the main moral lesson is that patience is a virtue that we should learn and practice in our lives. As it can lead to wisdom, success, and the avoidance of mistakes and setbacks caused by haste and impulsiveness.
If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, like and share.